All right, so we have a calculator question again, which is exciting. So we have a window from negative 1.5 to 1.5, and we're given an f function where we have f prime. Which of the following intervals must f be concave down? So the easiest way to do this is to not take another derivative. It's to use what you're given and understand the relationship between what you're given and what you want. So if f is concave down, we know that that translates to f double prime is less than 0. But that's the same as saying the slope of f prime is less than 0. So if I graph this as my y1, x to the fourth minus 2x squared plus 1 all minus 2, right? I want when this thing, right? So I want when this thing, if this is my given graph, is decreasing. I want to look for when this graph looks like this. So if I go ahead and go to my y equals and put that in, and you could certainly differentiate if you want. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's more effort than it's worth in this case. So x to the fourth minus a 2x squared plus a 1. That's all in my exponent, right? And then everything is minus a 2. Now I'm going to go to my window, and I'm going to set my window to match what they gave me, because in this case it's not an accident that they gave me a very specific x window, and that's the x window I want to use. Sorry, 1.5. All right, so let's go ahead and graph and see what we can see. So when I look at this picture, and I'm going to take a screenshot so that we can draw a little bit on it, I'm looking for when this thing has a negative slope. Well, this thing has a negative slope here, and again here, right? So those are my answer intervals, right? So I can do a couple things. Number one, I can cross off anybody that only has one interval, and I can cross off anybody that only has 3 intervals, because there are clearly 2 intervals, right? Oh, sorry, and 1 interval. So I'm down to 2 possible answers. I'm going to argue that I can pick the right answer without even bothering to do second calc anything, because this thing goes right up to the edge, which I know is negative 1.5, so it kind of has to be D. But if you wanted, you could second calc min, and you could find what this x coordinate is. If you do that, so if you do second calc and then pick min, right, you could go to where you think that min is, or you could have done the max, because I was already kind of in position to be at that max, but that's fine. So I go to where I think the bottom is, I hit enter. Oh, I went way too far, but that's okay. I go back past the bottom, hit enter, and hit enter again, and there's my minimum. And sure enough, it happens when x is approximately negative 1, which is the end of that interval. So this goes from negative 1.5 to negative 1, and my answer is D. Again, you do way less math if you can do this part, right? If you can translate, hey, how can I take what was given to me and use that information graphed in the calculator to answer the question without having to differentiate? That's really a valuable skill.